Jennie, Coach Jennie, you are on the Building Her podcast. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I'm just like, I don't know how to put it into words because I worked with you 6 years ago. You were my first ever coach in my coaching personal development journey. Like you,
Oh,
Jennie, were number one. And now you're here on the podcast, and I'm freaking out a little bit inside. It's this nervous energy, but like excited energy. So, um, where do we start? We were just laughing before I hit record because you're so funny. Um,
gonna be fun. Mhm.
okay, so 2019, I started working with you. We had our consultation call. I actually just rewatched it because you're so gracious to have sent me the link 6 years ago for my viewing pleasure. And it's just so wild to hear what was going on with me, what were the issues, but two, even what I sounded like, my voice, my tone,
Yeah.
my pitch, my nervous giggle, which still comes out sometimes.
Right.
And to see myself now and where I am, I know we just reflected a little bit. It's just insane. And I'm so happy that I have that journey to speak about and to share with the masses here on the podcast because I think a lot of people still don't really know what coaching is all about. Even though it's a saturated market and there's so many coaches out there now, people are still like, well, what the fuck is a coach? They still think it's
Totally.
therapy. So I would love to hear a little bit more about you and your coaching journey in terms of you being the client. How did you get into coaching? How did you start your personal development journey? What was your A to B transformation?
Oh, great questions. I'm so excited to be on this pod. It's gonna be so much fun. So I actually am about to celebrate 20 years in my business this September, which I haven't aged a day, but yes, that's like happening. I'm very freaked out about that. So I started my business in 2006, which is mind bending. And I started my business because in graduate school, I studied organizational development and I zeroed in on this concept of coaching. But when I was starting out in my late 20s, I thought what you're supposed to do is go and have a full career and then retire from said career and then become a coach because that's kind of all I saw. My degree was in org development. My first experiences were in the federal government. I was working as a consultant for the federal government, but still coaching was something the old people did. And it was all about helping old people, it was helping mucky mucks get muckier. That's really what I thought coaching was. And yet, I realized right at the tender age of 30, please don't do the math, people. At the tender age of 30, that I felt this feeling that all of my friends were experiencing of I don't know what I want, but I know it ain't this. Like I went to too many great lengths to do all of this education and all of this like hustling in my 20s to get to 30 and feel like, wait, I got another what? How many years of this? How many decades of this do I have? I don't want this. What do I actually want? Try to figure that out. And was helping and having conversations with my friends about that and polishing off some of those coaching skills that I had picked up. So I thought, what if I hang out a shingle? What if I give it a go and just start a business like that? And that's really where it started, which was like, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And as any coach in this business, what I wanted to talk about evolved. After I had had 5 or 6 years of talking about that, I had some business chops of my own under my belt and I felt like I could evolve. And the business has evolved, I don't even know how many times, because it seems slow and yet stark and all of the things. But yeah, the business has evolved over time and slowly but surely to the iteration that we have now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Everything that you said, it reminded me of what I thought of at 32 because I was still in my tech career.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this really what I worked so hard for? Because at my tech company, and I was very blessed, they took care of me, but it was, promotions and raises. And I got to move from LA to Chicago to open an office for them. And so on paper, it looks like, wow, you've got it,
Yep.
right? All the boxes are checked. But then inside, I felt so lost and confused and empty and kind of what you just said, like, I have to do this for how many decades?
Exactly.
Nothing about that roadmap excited me. For me, it was really hard, as you know, with my identity and shifting into potentially working for myself and let alone coaching, because to your point, it was for old people. But where did you find the courage, the audacity to finally be like, you know what? I'm just going to start a business. Like, let's just
Yeah.
find out.
Well, I started honestly, I started by saying, "Okay, everybody out there, all the gurus out there that I was looking at the time said that if I just, start a little email newsletter and poke a little bit on Twitter, I
Mhm.
would be rich in a week," you know? That's not really how that went down. But, all you need to do is follow these 17 steps of my perfect strategy, and by February, poof, 10,000 subscribers, and all of
Right.
those things. So the first thing I did is what every entrepreneur I've ever met has done, is I became a student of entrepreneurship.
Mm.
Right? Buying all of the infocrack, all of the
Yes.
courses, all
Yes.
of the programs, signing up for every mastermind I could afford or maybe not afford, and just being part of all of those different things, just devouring all that information, which
Mm.
was exhausting and conflicting and impossible to actually see through. And so quickly you start realizing that's not going to work. And you have to kind of find your own way and find your own voice. So finding the audacity to say, I have something very particular to say, and I can help a very particular person with a very particular problem took some trial and error. I mean, I got my first clients, this sounds so scandalous, but I got my first clients on Craigslist, okay? Because this was before Facebook and stuff. I'm so old. My gosh. But you know what I mean? Like those first clients, they were on listservs and whatnot. And I hit the ground and I made invitations to get on the phone with me and start having those conversations. And I got better and better and better at that work as I did those calls, but also as I started coaching people. But honestly, it was the audacity of my first early clients who were like, "You know what? I feel like I can talk to you. I feel like
Mhm.
you care about me, but you're not like part of my life. So
Mhm.
since you're not part of my life, you don't have a stake in what happens next. So you can be a little more objective than any of my friends and family can. So I feel like this is the place where I can really dig in and start figuring out what I want next." And
Yeah.
honestly, that at its core, that's the main thing that I still do today.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I love that you go back to the basics, no matter how evolved your business has become,
Oh yeah,
learning the basics of sales essentially and putting yourself out there and being seen and making the invitations. That's never, you never outgrow that. Like those are the fundamentals of business that you
absolutely.
need to have. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's really important. Meredith and I always say, and I'll explain, Meredith is my wife and business partner. Meredith and I are always saying we want people when they experience some of our marketing or see like meet us at a speaking gig or something, we want them to either feel one of two ways. We want them to feel like, not my vibe. No, thank you. I'm out of here. Or how are these bitches reading my mind? Right. And nothing in between. Like we're really hitting it right if you feel like, oh my gosh, you're speaking
Mhm.
exactly to me. And people are raising their hands going, oh my gosh, how did you
Yeah.
see my diary?
Yeah. Yeah. I that's exactly how I felt because when I read it was the article
Hmm.
in the penny hoarder, I always forget the name, the penny
Yeah.
hoarder, and, you had a Q&A, you sent me the questions and answers, but there was more there, it was just I don't know, every word was just resonating with me at the time, I was 28, and I remember I was like, "This girl gets me, this bitch is
Yeah,
reading my mind."
exactly. That's exactly well, and
Oh.
I think that's really important when you are looking for a coaching client, you need to be able to speak to that very specifically. I know a lot of people talk about the target market in terms of demographics or,
Mhm.
what kind of shoes do they wear and all that kind of crap. I don't think that's what it is. I really think it's, are you saying the things that are on their mind? And are you maybe even putting vocabulary that they don't
Mhm.
have yet to
Mhm.
some things that they're struggling with, which is something that I like to add a lot of fun and flavor to our vocabulary. So we have this fun shared vocabulary to talk about pretty serious things.
Yeah. No, and it's such a talent. I'm actually mm, perfecting my craft at the messaging piece because
Yeah.
the way I learned was more sales. So get them
Mhm.
on the phone and know what to say and ask the questions and know how to offer. And the more I
Have
did that,
attitude.
the more comfortable I became. But in terms of messaging and online marketing and having someone read a landing page or a caption, I'm still fine tuning my process there because to your point, you have to get very, very specific. You have to understand who your client even is, and that should be specific in terms of an age range, or is it an early coach? Is it an established coach? Like, who is it?
Right.
Is that something that you worked with mentors on, or was that
Mhm.
something that you've just perfected on your own through the years? How
Oh,
does
certainly not. I've definitely had to dig in and find humans who are better at this than me.
Okay.
The number one person to give a shout out to is a woman named Wendy White. So Wendy White is a colleague of mine who, well, she was my coach and then a colleague, and now she's one of my dearest biz besties. And Wendy is all about helping. She's a messaging strategist. She's all about helping you nail down
Mm,
your messaging so that it sings and sells.
mm,
And that was the distinction. I was putting out messages that were like, "I'm really cool. You should hang out with me. I'm fun. And if you like my vibe, we will get along." That is not the right first impression. It's an
yeah.
important second or third impression maybe, but
Mhm,
people don't click on they don't click to book a call with you, which is very vulnerable. It's a big ask to
mhm,
book a call with you based on, "I kinda like your vibe." They wanna know that you have a message and that what you help people do
yeah,
actually matters to them. That's how their curtains are on fire right now. They
yeah,
need that. That feels really important. It doesn't have to be pain, and that was one of the things I've learned from Wendy and from other amazing mentors of mine. It
mhm,
doesn't always have to be pain. It could also just be, "This is what I want,"
mhm, mhm.
but it just feels out of reach, and I would like to get there faster.
Yeah, no, I love that, and I actually recognize that name from when we worked together. You
Oh,
mentioned
yeah. I've
Wendy
been
White.
working with Wendy for, oh my gosh, so long, since I think 2017. She's
Got it,
amazing.
okay,
Highly
awesome.
wendywhite.com. Highly recommend.
Yeah, amazing. Um, when you going back to, the scandalous times of Craigslist, to use your word, is that something that you had just thought of and put yourself out there, kinda like throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what stuck, or had you already hired a coach or a mentor at that time who advised you to do that? Did you self-start and then hire, or did you hire and just take their advice?
Great questions. Before I started coaching, I actually worked with a coach, but for a very distinct 90-day period. And
Mhm,
within 3 or 4 calls, I was like, "I wanna do what you do for a living. How do I make this a thing?" But I
mhm,
had actually hired her for just general personal development as
mm,
a, hungry 20-something who wanted to do cool things. But I very quickly was like, "I could be having these conversations. I could add humor. I could make this fun. I think this would be really amazing." And so our coaching conversation quickly shifted into more of a mentor-mentee
mm,
kind of
okay,
situation for the rest of that coaching period. But then that ended and I kept going at my career. And then when I got into business, it was like, no, I need to go out and start finding some different coaches. So I've worked with several over the years, coaches, but as well as strategists and um, all kinds of different mentors, not always using the word coach as
mm,
the title as part of their title. There's been a
mm.
lot of different really cool people that have helped me along the way.
I love that. Very, very cool. Yeah, I always get pissed off when people say I'm self-made. I'm like, are you self-made
No.
though?
No, I mean, I it's not that I'm not taking credit for the actions that I'm taking, but
Mhm,
they are a lot faster and clearer if I'm actually working with somebody who sees the vision I'm trying to get to, but also knows a little bit more than I do. I think a really important thing is to know what you don't know or have
mhm,
some kind of respect for the fact that there's a whole shitload of stuff that you don't know. And also trying to stay up to speed on how quickly the market changed, the tech has changed, the social media landscape has changed, email marketing has changed. All of those things are changing all the time. I'm
mhm.
not one of those doom and gloom people of like, this is dead and that is dead and that strategy is dead. I don't think any strategy is dead. It all works. But like, what is the right strategy for us getting in front of the people that we want to work with?
Right.
That's a moving target. And
Mhm.
so we're always making sure that we're working with the best people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really happy you touched on that, because what I have found out now for me, I think I mentioned it before, my bread and butter is one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
But even to get the one-on-one clients, like, I love the process of having conversations and inviting them onto a call and having a 60 to 90-minute conversation where most likely tears are going to happen, and
Mm.
then inviting them to work with me for 6 months minimum. Like, that process I've really fallen in love with, But I don't love the messaging piece yet, which sounds like
Got
that's your expertise, you know? And so
it.
maybe for you, it really works to put out a landing page and put out some kind of campaign, and it works because your messaging is on point versus me. I have maybe a call, but
It's
we
different
kind of
though.
have to find what our sweet spot is.
It's totally different because most of the programs that we're inviting people to are group experiences.
Uh,
Many of them
yeah,
are virtual live experiences, meaning a
yes,
whole bunch of people are going to join us on April 17th that we're doing this thing.
yes,
And so I'm inviting a lot of different people to an experience.
yeah,
And so the messaging is much, much more important.
yeah,
Whereas when I was doing one on one coaching, I often filled that pipeline of people who I was going to have private coaching discovery calls or whatever we're
yeah,
calling them.
mhm,
Those all came out of networking and just being really visible. So
yeah,
it's quite different in
yeah,
terms of like what is the end game and how do I get people
totally.
into that world?
Yeah, such sound advice. For a woman who is working a 9 to 5, or is an earlier aspiring coach in today's landscape, in today's world, what would you recommend for her to do in terms of like a first step into
Hmm,
the coaching world?
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some things coming like more than a first step. I don't know if they're in sequence, but the first thing I would say to you is to adopt this mantra that there ain't no shame in financial oxygen. There ain't no shame in financial oxygen. There's something in the coaching industry that I hope just dies, but it's also throughout all entrepreneurship where we shame people for not going all in and leaving their day job and being in this financially precarious position because they're not fully committed to their business and living on their brother's sofa or whatever the heck it is. Do you know what I mean? Like why it has to be so dire and ridiculous, I don't know. So the first thing I would say is make sure you have enough financial oxygen to get your business to a place that you feel like, okay, now I can shift down to maybe part-time and maybe go full-time if you want to have a full-time coaching career. But also, there's no shame in not wanting a full-time coaching career. I know a lot of amazing coaches who have really cool careers and do work with 2 or 3 clients because that's what they want their lifestyle to be. So the first thing I would say is get comfortable with what you want your lifestyle to be, not what the gurus are telling you you have to do. So
Mhm.
I don't know if that's a step, but I think it's an important mindset that I would like to spread quite a bit. But then the other step is to just get really clear about what's your problem, which sounds awful, but like, what's your problem? What's the problem that you want to solve for your next set of clients? Not for now until forever. Like I said, you get to evolve as much as you want. But for the next 3 to 4 clients, what do you want to help them with? Do you want to help them get out of their own way? Do you want them to understand their inner critic? Do you want to help them get further faster? Those are some of the phrases and messaging we've used over the years of like this is what they really want next. And
Mhm.
so make sure your messaging is inviting people who are saying, I'm actively looking to sort that out. Yes, that's exactly, again, you are reading my mind. I am here for you.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you brought up financial oxygen.
It's
That hits
important.
home for me. Um, I think that was the biggest thing that you have helped me with. I mean, there were so many things that you did during our time together, but I remember, like, even when I talk about you and I talk about my experience with coaching and who I hired as my first coach, it always comes down to the financial oxygen mindset shift. Because if you recall, I was going through an identity crisis when I hired you because I was this tech girl. And then I was like, no, but I want to be a coach and follow Uncle Tony's path.
Yeah.
And I was having such a hard time with that. And you're like, your job is just financial oxygen, like collect the check and then build your
Yes.
dream business on the side. Like, what's the matter with that? And that was just such a light bulb moment for me. And I think hearing it the way you shared it and probably added some humor sprinkled into it, it gave me permission to continue working, but then also almost like hustle even harder because I thought it was possible and
Right.
it was okay to do this. I think you've always mentioned like a permission slip. That's what you gave me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a permission slip to recognize that having a day job or a job, as I like to call it, having a
Mhm.
job that pays the bills is funding your ability to chase your dream
Yes.
versus having it is showcasing that you're not serious about your business.
Right.
That's the narrative that I think a lot of people got into their head early on. A lot of early stage entrepreneurs still struggle with of like,
Yeah.
well, I'm not all in. I haven't risked everything. I call BS on that. I think if you're holding down a financial oxygen job and you just shift your ambition from the financial oxygen world to your business, that's the identity shift to take. And I know for you it was challenging to let go of, yeah, but I have to do the greatest job ever at work. Of
Yeah.
like, no, I have to not get fired. Right? Like,
Yes.
let's be honest. I need to do a good enough job that I do not get fired. I do not get in trouble. Is that stressing me out? But that I have something left in the tank when I come home and on the weekends to pour into my business. That's
Yes.
how you shift it to financial oxygen. And then make sure that it stays that and doesn't become golden handcuffs because that's a slippery lie.
Mhm. So, I don't know if we talked towards the tail end of my tech career because I did end up leaving and going all in on coaching, but it wasn't until I replaced my income to
Yeah.
then finally have the evidence and the proof of like, holy shit, this is possible. Let's go now all in on coaching. But I remember the tail end of my years. So I had told my CEO, we have a great relationship. He's really into personal development. He's the one who took us to the Tony Robbins Unleash the Power
Oh, yeah.
Within seminar. So he like always understood personal development and that I was super passionate about it, but he had no idea that I was actually trying to build a side hustle and make some money from this thing. And I don't know, at a certain point, I finally got the courage to tell him, hey, this is not it. I want to do this. And I've already started. And I was so afraid, of course, of that conversation because I was like, okay, worst case, I get fired on the spot. Best case, he supports me. And he supported me. And he actually allowed me to go part time in the business for a full year to get more time to build my side hustle. What happened though, and this is really interesting, and I wonder if you've experienced this too, or maybe with clients. It was more so the culture of the company changed towards me because they already now knew and categorized me as
Yep.
Katya's 1 foot out the door. Let's not give her this responsibility. Let's not send her to this event. Let kind of just, yeah, bare minimum to collect a check, which is what I wanted. But then the feeling behind it was
Yeah.
like, ooh, okay, I'm kind of getting ousted over here. And I feel like I was just kind of hanging on by a string. And I felt some, judgment and stuff like that from my coworkers, rightfully so. CEO is supporting my dream over here. That probably didn't feel very good for them. So, anyways, it kind of got weird towards the end. And then, of course, the universe, I believe in the power of the universe and timing, where I was like, okay, like now's the time. Have you experienced that or have you known other people? And what do you think that is? Just a sign of like, get out?
No, it's not necessarily a sign. It's a opportunity to be empathetic. Because if you can be empathetic about the fact that from their perspective, you do have 1 foot out the door. You have a different dream. This is something that you want. So it makes sense that we're not going to give you the best clients or the best perks or the first dibs on the best project or whatever the things are, right? It makes sense on their end to continue to grow and pour into the people who are committed to having a career there. So when you decide that you're shifting your job to financial oxygen, you have to be okay with no longer, like I said, no longer putting all of your ambition there, but also not all of your ego. Like
Mhm.
this is a gift that they're taking that pressure off of your lap. If you find a financial oxygen gig like that, that is wonderful. That's juicy because now you can, like I said, you can put all of your creative energy into learning how to sell. You can put all of your creative energy into like learning how to manage Canva because I don't know how to manage Canva. I open that thing up 3 hours of my life are gone. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is, you get to shift all of that energy over there. I'm not saying it's without loss though. I recognize that. As somebody, most people that I've worked with, including yourself, are superstars at what they do. And we're so used to being the recovering valedictorian, if you will, right? Like we're the people that are like top of their game in everything we do. Everything we do shines like at the top of the Chrysler building. And we're used to being seen that way at every professional opportunity. And so when you decided to shift gears and go down to part-time and all of that, it makes sense that your boss would treat you differently and the team would feel maybe even a little resentment around it. But managing that from a place of empathy, I think is really
Mhm.
key. The other thing is I personally think it makes it just uncomfortable enough that that is never gonna become golden handcuffs. You're getting the hell out of there. And I think
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
really good point. I'm actually thinking of, a few past clients and a current client right now where they are at the 9 to 5 job.
Mhm.
I'm gonna steal that phrase. And, well paid and super ambitious and the shining star on the team. But again, very similar to my path, they don't love it. They
Right.
don't feel aligned or excited about it and know that they're 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But yeah, the feeling of not being essentially good anymore at this job because you're putting more of your energy and your ambition into
100%.
coaching, yeah, your new job. What would you say with the future? Because you mentioned a little bit before, you're like, I'm not the doom and gloom type person where, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, the future and AI, and I don't even want to talk about AI anymore, but here it
Same.
is. What would you say or recommend to the lady, the woman that wants to start now, but she's thinking of AI or, will coaches be around in 5 years? What would you say to that
Oh my gosh.
argument
Yeah.
perspective?
I mean, this is obviously just my opinion, but there's
Sure.
no better time than right now, right? Like, the only time
Mhm.
that's better than right now is yesterday. Like, that's it. Like, the idea that, um, the world is changing and so they're not gonna need coaches anymore is absurd. Like, think about how heavy the world is right now. Like, what we desperately need right now is some support.
Yeah.
And so if you can support people in whatever specific way that you do, it's more necessary than ever. I understand it's also more saturated than ever. But here's the good news. How many humans do you need to help in order to have a thriving six-figure beautiful business? Count the number of humans. And if the number of humans are a little bit high, raise your prices. You're charging too little. Okay? And now that you've done that math, and you think about the billions of people on the planet, you're gonna have a quick dose of reality here. It's not I'm not saying it's easy, but the idea that, "Oh my god, it's so saturated, there's so many coaches, why even bother?" 1, get a coach to work through that because that's something we've gotta talk about, but 2, just do the freaking math. If you do the freaking math of how many hours do I wanna spend talking to how many humans and how many dollars do I wanna charge them above what I call the bar of resentment, so you're not resenting that person that they're paying you so little. You do that math very quickly, maybe a dozen, a few dozen, right? Depending on your business, it's not that many humans, but those are the humans you're gonna be able to help.
Mhm.
And if you have a passion for doing that, please don't be concerned that people are going to turn to AI. Now, here's the thing. I know that there are people that think that ChatGPT is their coach. They've named him. Like some of them call him Kevin. One of my clients calls him Kevin. She doesn't actually use Kevin as coaching, but I've stuck with the name. It's so good. So, like, Kevin can coach you all day. He's always going to tell you your hair looks pretty. Like, seriously, go to ChatGPT right now and say, "What do you think of my hair?" He will tell you you look great in whatever way you talk. So, if you say fabulous, he's going to say you look fabulous. Um, Sure, there are gonna be people that do that. There are gonna be people who read blogs and watch YouTube videos instead of hiring coaches too, but there always have been. There always have been. That's not who you're trying to reach. You're trying to reach somebody who's actually looking for individualized support.
Ah, I just love you so much.
I love you too. The feeling is so mutual.
The way you articulate it and make it so simple, like stupid simple. Like anyone listening to this right now, they're like, "Yeah, fuck it, count the humans and go." That's a
It's
six-figure business
math.
right there. It's math.
Yeah, and it's basic
Oh,
math I can even handle. So, like, we're not even talking complicated, like, geometry or something. No.
no, it's so true, and I'm the perfect example of that because I signed my first client in 2020. October 2020 is when someone said, "Yes, Katya, I will work with you." And the floodgates opened in my mind of like, "Oh my gosh, I could actually do this thing." And it hasn't been that many humans in a one-on-one capacity. Since then, I've done group programs, but
Mhm.
in one-on-one I've worked with people now for years, and I always start them at a 6-month program, so they choose to renew every
Sure.
6 months, and so it's like, "Oh," now also being postpartum, I was like, "How is this business going to operate?" Because my time is less than and I don't have as much now, you know?
Sure.
But the same strategy, the same clients, like, they've stayed with me over
Oh,
the
yeah.
years, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is a
Well,
business
why
model that can sustain anything."
of course, and why would they wanna break in a new one? Like, I have a couple of clients that have worked with me for so long, and I made the mistake. Please don't make this mistake. Don't grandmother anybody in, okay? I made the mistake of grandmothering people in. They got some cheap prices, okay? But it's still above the bar of resentment. If somebody calls me and they're like, "We've been working together for so long that we have a shorthand." Like, I don't wanna start from scratch, and I can talk to this coach, and she's gonna remind me of that job I had in back in 2012, like, I have the receipts, I know all of the things, like, it makes a lot of sense. It absolutely is a business model that you can work with people for a very long time. Now, that's controversial in the coaching community because I don't know if you know Katya, but, like, the coaching community, they're a snobby little bunch, right? They've got a lot of rules. They feel like some people feel like, well, if you're still working with someone beyond 6 months, you haven't helped them. I call BS on that. I think that's if you're helping them with a very short-term specific thing and that it's finite and then love you, mean it, bye. If that's your jam, have at it. But I like working with people for the long term. Like I was bringing up Wendy, I love working with people for so long that they not only know where I'm trying to go, but they know all the places I've been and what we could like rinse and repeat. And I think it's really valuable to have those longer relationships, just like your long-term friends.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's
I I completely agree because, um, with my clients, I've noticed, yes, they come to me for a very specific problem at the beginning, and then you
right.
work through that, and then you discover, "Oh, there's something else," or, "Actually, it wasn't that, there was something deeper and an underlying fear," and, they didn't even know that. Because people are on their best behavior too, and I think they have a filter on the consultation call. It's like 3 months in, now I'm finally getting to learn
Well,
and
sure, they're
know.
sizing you up and deciding how
Totally.
verbal and
Yes.
also discovering things about themselves that
Yes.
they haven't looked at before, of
Yes.
course.
And I think I got it from you, correct me if I'm wrong, the phrase "new level, new devil." Was that
Yes.
from you?
Well, I can't I stole it from somewhere, I don't know where, but yes, that's the idea. New level, new devil.
We'll say it's from Coach Jennie.
As soon as you get to a new place, we do something I call puddle jump. Have I told you about puddle jumping? Okay,
Yes, I
so
think it's in your Hilda book, right?
it is. So,
Yes.
puddle jumping is whenever you're about to do something that really matters to you, like, I don't know, start a coaching business. It feels like you're crossing the ocean. You can't even see the other side. It's filled with dangers and unknowns and it's scary, right? Like I can't even imagine. But then when you actually are able to do it, we trivialize the ocean we just crossed. Like we just jumped over a little puddle. Like, oh, look, it's no big thing. It's just little puddle jumping. We have this tendency to do that. So when it comes to things that we have done, we've persevered, that we've made happen, that we've decided, we puddle jump that whole experience and we don't see the enormity of it, which means we don't actually experience the confidence we've just earned. And so, like, we're on a mission to make sure that people recognize it, and puddle jumping is a silly term for that. But when you cross an ocean, the new level, new devil thing truly starts happening. It's like, "This shit just got real. Oh my god. I have a coaching business. I just left my job. I have to get more clients now." Like, "Okay, yeah, I had money in March, but now it's April. Like, what do we do?" It's all of that. That new level, new devil means new versions of your inner critic are gonna come at you. Maybe you've conquered your perfectionism, so here comes second guessing, or maybe I was sorting out some second guessing, so here comes some self-doubt, and, like, it's very natural, and one of the things that bothers me about our industry is this idea that we're supposed to, like, just silence all that noise. And I don't think it's a weakness. I think it's proof that you're doing something that matters. The fact that your inner critic, I call her Hilda, Hilda doesn't bother if it doesn't matter. She's showing up and making noise because you're doing something that's important to you. You're looking at the next ocean and you're recognizing that you're ready for it.
Oh my gosh. Again, well said.
Well, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Oh my gosh, I just love the way you explain it. It makes it so, so clear. But yes, exactly. Puddle jumping, new level, new devil. And that's why I work with people for years because there's
Yeah,
new levels. There's new parts of themselves that they haven't met yet. And like you just said, okay, maybe I've dealt with perfectionism a little bit and now self-doubt is here, right? So there's always these
exactly.
new parts of you that you have to meet and work through. Um, how has your Hilda evolved over the years? Because, like you just said, it's like
Mhm.
she doesn't go away, or the
No.
car analogy. Like, I'm the driver, so I'm
Mhm.
still like telling Hilda where to go, but I'm driving, but she's in the passenger seat. Like, she's the passenger princess and she's loud and right?
She's obnoxious,
Like,
yeah.
she's still there for the journey, for the ride, but I'm in the driver's seat. So, how have you developed essentially a relationship with Hilda, and
Mm.
how do you deal with her when she starts to speak up a little too loud?
Really great questions. I mean, my relationship with Hilda is less fraught than it used to be. I used to feel like when I had inner critic or I was feeling imposter syndrome or self-doubt or whatever, that it meant there was something wrong with me. And I think that's what a lot of people think is that there's something wrong with me that I'm having these feelings. There's some it's exposing a weakness. But now that I really have studied this for so many years and dug in, I've realized no, it actually, like I said, it means that I'm onto something. So if I can shorten the amount of time that I get into the like sad feeling of what's wrong with me and recognize, oh, wait, Hilda's here. This is good news. That changes the relationship. It doesn't make my interactions with my inner critic any more fun. It's still a pain in the ass. By the way, Hilda, if anybody's name is Hilda, I'm sorry. You can call yours Jenny. I feel bad. But when Hilda is piping up, it is a sign that I'm moving forward in the right direction. It means that I'm scared. It's just fear. When you feel fear, it means something's going to be great. So it's kind of like a roller coaster ride. Getting on the roller coaster ride with Hilda. And to some degree, your experience on a roller coaster completely depends on the decision you make when it starts. Am I going to have fun or am I going to puke? You know what I mean? Like, where are we going with this? I really believe it's a decision that we get to make. And so deciding, okay, Hilda's here. What is she trying to tell me? What is she trying to scare me off of? What is she worried about? The other thing about my relationship with Hilda that has changed is she's getting trickier. She gets trickier. So I thought that Hilda was just a meanie liar, like always said all kinds of lies. But sometimes she says the absolute truth. And that's where you have to really like watch her. So it doesn't work for me anymore to be like, oh, you're going to crash and burn, because that's not really true. But, if she can remind me of that time that you tried this before and it didn't work. Remember that? Okay, that actually happened. Remember how disappointing that was? Yes, I remember how disappointing that was. Okay, now that sitting in that disappointment, I can either say, okay, that's a good point. I shouldn't even try. Or how can I not let disappointment derail me again? How can I experience disappointment and risk more disappointment and put myself out there again? How can I get creative about solving this problem and trying a different way? How can I get more experimental? So I have gotten faster at cutting her off and seeing, okay, where is the problem solving I can do?
Ah, I love it so much. Mine is my inner critic's name is Regina. Sorry for any Reginas listening.
I'm Gina. I
But
love it.
from Mean Girls, the
Yeah. The
main actress was Regina. And
yeah, the Rachel McAdams
yes,
character.
Rachel McAdams.
Yes, I love
Yes,
that. Yes.
exactly. And that name just came up for me. I was like, "Oh, Regina. Okay, we're gonna stick with it." But what you just said about there's so many nuggets of wisdom anytime you speak. So I'm trying to get back to what you just said.
Nuggets of wisdom.
Got it. Yeah. Um, basically meeting Hilda or Regina and embracing the message. So surrendering to,
Yeah.
okay, what's going on here? And be curious is the word that's coming up for me. Because to your point, so this month I'm launching my group program for early and aspiring coaches called CEO. And
Cool.
anytime I launch, because I just told you my bread and butter is one-on-one.
Right.
Anytime I launch a group program, it's very vulnerable for me because I'm just like, here we go. Here's my program. Someone,
Yeah.
please. Is anyone out there? That's like the feeling initially. But it's not my first time. It's my third or fourth time now. And I remember the first time, I think 7, 8 girls signed up, and my mind was blown. But from that but that was, like, my reference point then, right? So then
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, I'll just do it again in the fall, and 7 or 8 women will sign up again," and that didn't happen. And so it's what you just said, it's constant creativity, constant experimentation,
Yeah.
refresh, make something new, new masterclass, new challenge, like, whatever you gotta do to keep things fresh. Is that what you have experienced with your group programs now and the online coaching that you do?
Absolutely. And I think it's about recognizing a couple things. One, the word launch feels too heavy because you're not NASA, you don't have to launch, you can just open something, I'm
I like
opening the
that.
doors, or I'm rolling out a new, uh, offer, right, when you're putting an offer out there. So that's one thing, is for me, sometimes I get stuck on the words, I get
Yeah.
stuck on the concepts, and launch is probably the heaviest word in entrepreneurship, next to maybe Facebook ads, right? Like, it's a heavy, heavy word, it means, like, this big public success or failure, and it's just not. So people are gonna join or not. The other thing is that I remind myself that there's absolutely nothing on my to-do list this week that's gonna make or break my business. There's nothing on your to-do list next week that's gonna make or break your business. It's going to make or break your week, but not make or break your business. And so when you look at it that way, it doesn't have that same level of pressure. And I
Mhm.
think that sometimes we're accidentally, and I think Hilda's part of it, inventing pressure, inventing stakes, raising the stakes on what this needs to be. Has to be this launch, like it just sounds really heavy and ridiculous because we're in this online entrepreneurial soup where everybody's talking like that, and you start getting gurued by all of these people, even people you've never hired. You're getting gurued by all of these people of like what a launch is supposed to look like and what success is supposed to look like. And if you can peel all of that stuff back and ask yourself, okay, what does success look like for me? Well, I get to help 7 more people in SheEO. That's the ideal. If 4 people sign up, I'm gonna give them a great experience and then figure out the puzzle of how we get 7 next time. Instead of like, "Oh, I'm obviously a failure. Those 4 people are gonna get the obvious failure energy." Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. So, I don't know if that speaks to you at all, Katya, but, like, I
Oh,
am all about, like, how do we peel off some of the manufactured pressure
mhm.
that is not serving where we're trying to go?
Yeah. I mean, just the distinction already from launch to open. The minute you said, "I'm opening the door," or "I'm
Well, let's
opening
go
the
now.
Zoom room," that's
That's it.
what we're doing. I mean, it felt so much better. It felt
Yeah.
just fun and exciting. What a crazy thing is, like, just one word, you
Well,
know?
and that's you'll notice in this whole conversation, you're noticing I use language very, very strategically. I think vocabulary matters. And my vocabulary is not what you have to pick up, but discerning your own vocabulary, like really saying, okay, these are the words that work for me. And then having that shorthand of like, I'm not going to puddle jump this. I'm going to make sure I price myself above the bar of resentment and I'm not launching, I'm opening. Like all of that just made sense to you if you were listening, right? And so now we have this very playful way about talking about something that really matters to you, which is your business.
Yeah.
And so having those playful terms that mean a lot and
Mhm.
say a lot in few words, I think really gives us a shorthand to get further faster.
Yeah, I love that so much, and also to your point when you mentioned nothing that you do or don't do this week will make or break your
Yes.
business, right? Maybe your week, but not your business. The way
Yeah.
I view that is almost like the stock market, right? Like it's up and
Yep.
down and up and
Great
down.
point.
But like overall, you zoom out, hopefully there's this trajectory that is going up, but there's like it's made up of highs and lows. And that's kind of how I view the totality of my business now. Uh,
100%.
yeah. I wanted to ask you now, what are you doing in business and what are you launching and how could people work with you and get in your energy and your spaces?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a big ass question, but I'm so happy to answer it. So, as you can see, we live in our Airstream. We are full timing and digital nomading all over North America. It's spectacular. And so what's very much next for us is this week we are heading east. We're going back east. We've been on the West Coast for a couple of years, and we're going back to the East Coast where we're from. So we're excited about that. But then in terms of our business, we help with people with lots of different things. But the best way to kind of get started in our world is one of these two. One is we have this session that we do every single Thursday called the Make It Happen Weekly. It is a $25 a month membership, but you can just come for a month and see if it's for you. But the whole idea is that in 60 minutes, we're going to plan your entire next week, right? We're going to figure out what that next week looks like through a fun, deliberate, repeatable process that we've developed over time and we've been running for well over 3 years. So if you feel like, you know what, I would like to do more of what actually matters to me and not be overwhelmed all of the time. I'd like to stop working from a list of things I want to do that's as long as a CVS receipt, and instead of like actually know what I'm going to accomplish next week and feel accomplished every week, that's what that is about. And then the other thing I would invite people to check out is one of our lock-in 2-week sprints. So if there's something, some project you've been wanting to do, a launch you've been wanting to build, a new program you want to develop, a YouTube channel that needs resurrected, whatever the thing is, that has been on the later list collecting cyber dust forever. Lock-in is about having a 2-week sprint. It's a accountability container to get that thing done, whatever that thing is for you. And it's a lot of fun. And we charge $100. And spoiler alert, if you complete your lock-in mission, you get the $100 back in credit to use towards anything else in our business. So there's a lovely little
What?
carrot in there. It's a lot of fun. So those are probably the
Amazing.
two best ways to get some live interaction, low ticket experiences with me and my wife, Meredith. Our business is Jennie and Meredith, so you can find us there.
Oh my gosh, amazing. I cracked up when you said the CVS receipt.
We
Those
know
things are
it
long.
though. Like every time you cross something off your to-do list, you write down 6 more things. Like that is not a way to live.
I know. What I do have to say, I've gotten really good now at prioritizing and becoming efficient in the time that I have because I'm a new mom.
I bet.
And I understand motherhood and the chapters that's all going to change when she's in school and older and, can take care of herself. But right now I'm in the thick of it. And I really have to work now during nap times and after
Sure.
bedtime. And so I have become so surgical with what I am working on and what I am not working on. And it has moved the needle in my business so much faster than
Yeah,
pre-motherhood.
that's
I'm
wonderful.
like,
It's eye-opening. I think there is this phenomenon where we write down all of these things on a to-do list that's really a wish list. It's a wish list of how I would do this if I was a better person and could move time to my will. This is what I would actually accomplish. And then all we do is feel bad about how little we accomplish because we're looking at this crazy wish list that's just not rooted in reality. So what we're teaching is about how do you, instead of participating in that, get hyper realistic about what you're actually going to accomplish and prioritize not based on how important or urgent it is or whatever Stephen Covey said in that book, but like, when are you actually going to do it? Are you going to do it this week? No. Okay. Next 2-ish weeks? No. Sometime after that. That's all we need to know. And then
mhm.
just live your life 1 week at a time. We have been doing this for over 3 years with clients, and it's shocking how much more productive we are for all the reasons you said. And you don't have to have a baby to do it. So, not that that's a bad thing, but that sounds hard. That just
Yeah.
sounds hard. So,
I know. It's crazy how much it's revealed to me about myself. So, motherhood in the
yeah, of
beginning, it was a journey and I had to heal on all levels, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual.
course.
But wow, I truly am so much stronger on the other side here because it just revealed where I wasn't strong yet in terms of my time management or maybe even vulnerabilities and insecurities about playing small in business. And yeah, it's crazy that in my experience, I did have to have a baby in order to discover that. But not everyone needs to have a baby to
No, and ITs, but, like,
go
it's
join
so true.
Jenny's
There's
program.
when you start your own business and especially when you go full time in your own business, you've shifted from having a really busy life that externally has told you where you have to be and when, to having all the freedom in the world and the internet to tell you all of the things you could be doing. I know everybody's like worried about shoulds. Shoulds are not the problems. It's the coulds The coulds are insidious, right? Like, it's all the things we could be doing, all the things we could be working, all the ways we could be marketing, all the ways we could be thinking about whatever. That is where all of our productivity goes to die, and you being in your situation right now where I have to work in, like, nap times and bedtime, this is what I've got. You have to get really discerning about which goods you're gonna pick up and which ones are just not this season, and so, I'm here to tell you, you can just choose that, and it's
Mhm.
easier to do it every single week than to do it once, you know? It doesn't have to be this big project, it can be done in an hour.
I love that you said it's not about your shoulds, it's actually about the coulds. I've never heard that before because
Yeah.
everyone always says, "You're shoulding all over yourself," but it's
Yeah,
the
and I
could.
agree, that's a problem, but the coulds are the problem. Like, I could make a living, like, washing dishes. I'm really good at it. I don't want to, right? Like, I know that's a silly example, but I also could spend more time trying to figure out the perfect AI tool that gets my vibe. Or I could just decide this. And it's all of the things that we could do that are true. They're true statements. Hilda likes to throw them at us too. Like if we're ambitious, like here's some more coulds. It's a problem because you only have so much time. So you can do absolutely anything you want. You just can't do everything. So
Mhm.
what is it going to be that you want to prioritize for this season, for this time, for this year, for this month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a good point, and I'm so happy that you're doing this for clients and helping them through this. I think that is a really niche problem that
Yes.
you are helping, others with, and it's so true because it's in the landscape of, our digital age and social media. You see everything that everyone is doing. I think you made the joke earlier, like, all these coaches and their advice, I didn't even hire them
Right, right, you're
to
it's
put
a
their content.
bombardment, and I mean, I try so hard not to click on the sponsor ads, but some of them are pretty, you know, like, they just suck you in, and there's so many new things and innovations happening all of the time. How do we make sure that we sequester that so we don't stay a student of entrepreneurship, but we're actual entrepreneurs, we're actually making money and making impact?
Yeah.
Um, I think that takes a discipline, and we've worked really hard to find ways to make that discipline fun and simple and doable and repeatable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. I love
You
it.
Thank you for
Um,
letting me gush about it. It's my favorite thing.
yeah, absolutely. I can tell, and rightfully so. Can people still buy your Hilda book?
They sure can. You can go to Amazon and get the Kindle version or the paperback version, or you can go to Audible and I'll read it to you. I'm hysterical at 3 times speed, let me tell you. Yes, so if you look for Hilda and Coach Jenny, you will find me.
I think that would be a lot of fun to have you actually read it because of your sense
Oh,
of humor, and
it's
it would
really
be
funny.
so
There's
fun.
a spoiler alert, there's a couple of mistakes in the book, and I can always tell if people have read the book because they tell in the audiobook, they
Okay,
will
okay.
call and be like, "Oh, you said that again." And then I'll wait, like, another couple weeks, and I hear from them again. I'm like, "Yes, there's 2 mistakes in the book. It's a book about the inner critic. I can't fix it because that." So, yeah,
Those were actually there on purpose, duh.
totally.
Oh my gosh. Jenny, I love you. This has been such an amazing conversation. I could keep going. I know we're over the hour. I want to be respectful of your time. Maybe we do a part two, part three.
Anytime,
Just stay on the
anytime.
podcast.
This was
um,
amazing. Thank you for having me, Katya.
oh, you're
Sincerely, and
welcome.
congratulations for all of your success. I'm so,
Oh.
so happy for you.
Thank you. Well, right back at you, truly, like just to see what you're doing now and who you're helping and what you're focusing on, and that you haven't stopped and you're here and it still lights you up and brings you so much joy. It's very, very cool to see. So I'm very, very proud of you as well. Where can everyone find you? What's the easiest way to contact you
Yeah.
if someone was
Head
interested?
over to jennyandmeredith.com, but you'll type that somewhere. It's Jenny with an IE, Meredith with a Y. It's a pain in the butt, you know. So go to jennyandmeredith.com. You can find us there. And then we're also on most of the socials at Jenny and Meredith.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. I'll leave all the information in the show notes below and let us know if you want a part two to this. Thank you, Jenny, for being here.
Thank you.